Hello and welcome back in, you guys. We got One Piece chapter 1147, the post-game show today. So, how this works is that we go through the review video comment section and just see what people are talking about. What are the big theories? What are the talking points? And all of that good stuff. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. Okay, so the top comment says, Luffy looking angrily at Gunko with his crew. Sommers immediately blames Gunko, saying she did it. Yeah, I gotta see that confrontation, man. You know, I have a lot of respect for the God Knights. I respect their abilities, but I just really want to see how they stack up against Luffy. And not just Luffy, but Zoro, Sanji, Loki even. I gotta see it, man. Like, will they actually cower in fear and want nothing to do with him? Or will they actually try to fight him if the need arises? So the next comment says, so this is a mistake on my part, actually. I read this one earlier. They say, I think you missed it, Sai. It wasn't the library that Scopper got serious at. It was when Sommers said they were going to kill the kids one by one. They even show Ripley being shocked and Scopper getting pissed, saying, what the hell did he say? So it wasn't the library. It was when Sommers threatened to actually kill the kids that Scopper got serious. That is true. The reason I didn't immediately connect that, one, I'm like a lizard. I just have bad memory and I just misinterpret things sometimes. But two, it's because he only left Ripley after Sommers was done giving the whole speech and they talked about the library and stuff. So that's kind of like why I went to that connection right away. But you are right. Like I said, I think it is all of the above. It's the kids, it's the library, it's the school, it's everything, right? It's the God Knight's presence on the island. These guys just really set Scopper off. And yes, Scopper is going to solve the problem, hopefully. I still think he is going to go after Sommers right away. You know, the guy who's giving the message. Which is kind of interesting when you think about it, right? There's 3 God Knights here, and one of them is just kind of off to the side, Killingham. And I just wonder who's going to go after him. Because, like, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, you know, Brook's gonna fight Gunko. You know, Usopp might fight Gunko. You know, Scopper's gonna fight Sommers. Maybe Robin fights Sommers for revenge for Saul. But I've never really seen anybody toss out a solid Killingham matchup. Like, the guy's just kind of off to the side doing his own thing. You know, he's just over there at the library and the school hanging around. So I do wonder, like, what's gonna happen with him, which is kind of like a tangent in and of itself. But I do gotta ask that question. You know, what do you guys think about Killingham right now? Who's gonna run the Killingham fight? This one says, Nami. Jinbei, I expected better from you. Jinbei says it's called the Wharf Effect. The Wharf Effect. It's when a powerful character like me, Luffy, Zoro, etc. is easily defeated to hype up the new threat. It was just my luck that I was the jobber. Usopp, well, that stinks. Yeah, imagine they talk in meta terms, like they break the fourth wall. Like, Jinbei, why didn't you do this? And then he's like, well, let me tell you, Oda couldn't let me finish this arc right away. You know, Oda couldn't let me do it, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just love that Jinbei called him out, though. You know, back to the brass tacks. I did find it really enjoyable that Nami expected more from him. Let's just hope Jinbei does show out. You know, as a Jinbei fan myself, I kind of do hope he has his comeuppance. I hope once he breaks out of the arrows, once somebody frees him, he does end up fighting a God Knight and he figures a way around their abilities. But maybe that's just wishful thinking. I held a live stream yesterday and I had a poll saying, hey guys, like, if Jinbei gets freed, what would you like him to do? Like, would you want him to fight the God Knights or just do something else? And to my surprise, a majority of people did not want Jinbei to fight the Holy Knights anymore. And I'm like, I was shocked. You know, I was absolutely shocked when I saw that. So hopefully Jinbei gets a big W here, minus just putting out the fires of Elbaph. This comment says, not the wives of the giant warrior pirates as nightmare monsters. I love Oda's sense of humor. Now we know why. The world government fears Elbaph. Yes, yes, yes. And here's the thing as well. The giant warrior pirates, as it stands, they're not winning this battle. I mean, obviously, it's like a gag. They're shocked. They can't fight back against their wives and their daughters and their moms. But if they can't do it, a theory I've really enjoyed is that maybe the real wives of Elbaph come out. Like the real wives of Atlanta. They just come out and start whooping ass, like left and right. They're defeating the nightmare versions of themselves, showing that they are the true monsters. It's a little bit silly, but I could see it happening, right? I'd rather have the real wives of Elbaph come out than Dory, Brogy, and all of them beating the nightmare versions of their loved ones. It's a weird middle ground, but what would you guys like more? Would you rather the wives beat the nightmare wives or the giants beating their nightmare wives? I think this is the most I've talked about wife beating in a while, huh? The reason Scopper cares about the library is cause the owl lives there. And we all know why that's important to him. Oh, yeah, this is This is a old theory. It's weird to call it old because we learned about this like last year, but the owl has the nurture fruit according to Vegapunk, and it's able to grow things in size, and the joke is that the owl can grow Scopper up so that he can make love to Ripley. You know what? Forget that. I kind of just want to save the owl. Like, ability aside, joke aside, I do want the owl to survive that flame. I want to know more about him. I mean, the owl has been there for a very long time. Like, I do want Chopper to talk to this guy. You know, if there was a Straw Hat to go to the library and fight Killingham or stop him or something, I want Chopper to go just so that he can have that conversation with the owl. I know that's like a long forgotten theory as well, but this owl should have so much information. It is as old as the Elbaph library potentially. So Chopper, please talk to the guy. Talk to him, man. You speak out, Chopper, please. This comment says, it's finally time for Scopper Gabon to go all out in Elbaph. If someone knows how to hurt the Holy Knights, it is him. I like this comment. This comment just says he doesn't even know. I wonder what this is in reference to. Like, he doesn't know how to hurt the Holy Knights, or he doesn't know anything about the Holy Knights. Because the thing is, if I had to put money down, like on every character in Elbaph, if I had to put money down on one of them to be able to harm them, the Holy Knights, I think it would be Scopper. I mean, hands down, he is the character with potentially the most information about them. He was at God Valley. He worked with Roger. He's even a character that knows all of the true history of the world. So it's got to be him. You know, I say Scopper or bust. This one says, the God Knights are worried about Luffy. I can't wait to see Loki and his reaction when he finds out about the children. I think this is setting up Loki's redemption with the rest of the Giants after he helps rescue the children. I like that. Funny enough, I never thought about that. Loki getting a redemption arc by saving kids. Huh. It makes so much sense, but I guess the reason I never put this together is because of Loki's reaction to his wolf being strangled by Gunko, right? Gunko was like, hey, I'm gonna kill your wolf buddies and all your animal friends if you don't join us. And Loki just said, well, that's their fate. You know, they're warriors. They're dying like warriors. What am I gonna do about it? I'm just gonna get revenge later. So would Loki actually care about the Elbaph children? I'd like to imagine he would, but he hasn't shown anything yet that makes me believe that he would like the kids. Maybe he does. Maybe it's like one of those things he keeps a secret. Or maybe actually Loki doesn't consider the kids warriors, so he would care about them, right? Because he called it a warrior's fate if they lose in battle. But the kids aren't fighters. The kids are scholars. They're students. This is the new generation of kids that King Harold wanted to bring into existence. So maybe Loki would feel differently about these guys. I think that could be the case, right? I mean, King Harold died for this school. This is his dying wish. Well, I say dying wish. I mean, I doubt he knew it, right? But yeah, maybe this is something Loki does want to protect. Huh. Yeah, no, I like this idea a lot. I like it a lot. Dagger of the Holy Land is such an iconic moniker. Yes, it is. I did kind of poke fun at it, saying, well, Sword of the Holy Land sounds a lot better, or Executioner of the Holy Land, but Dagger is still really fire nonetheless. And I gotta ask you guys now, is the Dagger moniker just for Sommers, or is it for all the Holy Knights? That is what I'm wondering. Like, for example, if Gunko hops on the mic, would she say, I'm the arrow of the Holy Land? If Shamrock jumps in, would he say that he's the sword of the Holy Land? Maybe the claymore of the Holy Land? Is there a bazooka of the Holy Land? Or are all the Holy Knights simply the dagger? I think it would be cool if they all had a different weapon associated with them. And if that is the case, what does that say about Sommers? You know, Sommers is the dagger, but if there's like a sword or like a bazooka, you know, a nuke of the Holy Land, then Sommers might be among the weak trio, which is kind of something that a lot of people have been talking about already. Like, when we meet the rest of the God Knights, how will Gunko, Killingham, and Sommers stack up against them? Are they like the top of the group? Are they at the middle? Or are they among the lower realm? I gotta know, man. You know, like, what if we struggle against the God Knights here, and then we get that crazy reveal where they're like, yep, by the way, we're the weak trio. You barely beat us. Come on, guys. There's like 6 more of us back at home who are way stronger. Because that'd be pretty cool. It reminds me of Bleach, and I talk about this moment a lot, But in Bleach, Ichigo struggled to hell and back fighting Ulquiorra. And that was before he used his Resurrection as well. And Ichigo was like, you must be the strongest one. You're the leader of all the Arrancar, of all the Espada. And then Ulquiorra like tears off his shirt and he's like, hey, sorry, man, I'm number 4. There's like 3 more who are way stronger than I am. So maybe this is one of those scenarios, right? We struggle pretty decently against these God Knights, and then they reveal that they're weak. You know, like, we're the new recruits, right? We just joined the rankings. That'd be pretty fire. I don't know if Oda would do that, but you gotta admit, it's a fun idea to play around with. And back to the original question. Like I said, I'll reiterate it. Do you guys think all the God Knights are the dagger, or do you think they all have their own moniker epithet? When kids are in danger, Robin, I sleep. When books are in danger, also Robin loads the shotgun. Yeah, I mean, it could be all the above. I understand it's a joke, but at the same time, like, the books matter, man. Like, these are the books her mom, Clover, all of her guys fought for, man. They died so these books could live, right? Like, and this is going to be a weird or extreme way to put it, but the kids can at least try to fight back, right? The kids could try to, like, do something. The kids could at least try to fight back against the God Knights to no avail. You know, to be fair, to no avail. But the books can't. You know, the books aren't sentient. The books can't, you know, jump out of the fire and into water. The books can't fly away. So I understand. You know, Robin's got to lock in. She's got to go and save the books. But the funniest part is that the books technically aren't in danger right now unless Jarul agrees to Sommers' demand. Because Sommers wants the Giants to destroy the school and the library. So if Jarul takes the offer up, Robin High-Key is going to be fighting the Giants of Elbaph to save the books. Of course, that is only if Jarul takes the offer up. Until then, Robin can just simply fight the Holy Knights. But if Jarul says yes, and he sends Giants to the school, Robin's gonna have to fight him. You know, Robin's gonna have to push those Giants back, and that's gonna be quite the conundrum, right? That's gonna be quite the conundrum. This comment says, Gunko was called Zombie Girl, which is interesting because I noticed a strange synchronicity with chapter 1146 and 446. In 1146, Gunko appears and targets Usopp. In 446, Sindri shows up and starts throwing plates at Usopp. I think Gunko and Sindri parallel the same Void Century character. That's not bad. Wait a minute. That's not bad. I don't exactly subscribe to the split personality Gunko theory, but if you do, then this could be a really nice parallel or a really nice callback, because Sindri, if I recall correctly, Gecko Moria got the real Sindri's shadow, put it in Zombie Sindri, and Zombie Sindri was essentially going against her will or going against her own shadow. It was like a whole struggle, right? And at the very end, the real Sindri shined through and ended up going against Dr. Hogback. That is if I recall correctly, right? If that is the case, then maybe that's the same with Gunko, right? If you believe in the split personality theory. But yeah, I like that. Man, that's a crazy callback. And I do like how they both target Usopp, though. That's pretty funny. This one says, we need Brook's second backstory as soon as possible. He knows way too much. P.S. Sai, thanks for all you do. I always listen to your videos while I'm working, and your hard work and great analysis does not go unappreciated. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And yes, I agree. Brook does need that second backstory, because it's not a great theory, but I'm sure you guys have seen it. But people do say that Brook and Aokiji-Kuzan look very similar. I mean, from the hair to the glasses to the face structure, they're almost one-to-one. Like, if you were to put them side by side and you said that one side is pre-time skip versus the other one being post-time skip, I'd kind of believe you. Like, if I didn't know One Piece, I would believe it. So if we get that second backstory, not only will we learn about Brook's kingdom, where he learned all of his attacks, and about the God Knights potentially, but we might finally be able to either confirm that theory or put it to rest, which I think is important, to put theories to rest. Kind of like how when we saw the Cerberus with Shamrock, it put all the Blackbeard Cerberus theories to rest. And I don't think that's bad, right? I think it is nice when theories have a solid conclusion. Like, oh, the theory is correct, or oh, the theory is wrong. Time to move on. So I am curious about that. And yeah, again, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the nice words, brother. The fact that Oda gave us names and personalities for each of these kids is huge. They're going to be so important in the final saga. We're totally getting set up to chase these kids to the Holy Land to save these kids Enies Lobby style. I could even see Luffy obtaining the mark and going through the abyss with the Holy Knights, really reminiscent of him jumping into the mirror with Katakuri. So I don't think Luffy is going to get the mark. First up, I don't think that's an idea I've ever heard of before, so I think that's amazing, by the way. One of the Straw Hats getting the mark, I think that's cool. But if we really wanted to do the Enies Lobby style parallel here, the people that would go and get the mark to go to the Holy Land initially, that would be Frankie, Sanji, and was it Chopper? No, it was Frankie, Usopp, Sanji, and not Chopper. Yeah, Chopper did his own thing. Yeah. So Sanji, Frankie, Usopp getting the mark. That'd be cool. I mean, hey, I've always said this. I've always been of this stance, but I do like it when the Straw Hats split up. Because whenever the Straw Hats split up, we get a lot more focus on certain characters. And I would go as far to say is that's why I like Elbaph right now. Because the Monster Trio is not present. I know how I always talk about how I would love to see Luffy interact with the God Knights, but I'm still glad that hasn't happened yet, just so that Robin, Jinbei, Usopp, Brook, and all of them can shine without the Monster Trio. So if they split up again for Marie Joie, like we have a group go first, like a Vanguard group, totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. And as far as the mark goes, like how would we get the mark? That's a tough one. I mean, it sounds like the God Knights could give it to people, but I don't know if they can actually. Because if they could simply hand out the mark to go through the abyss, then they would have done that for all 10 kids. I know Gunko talked about that earlier, saying, yeah, like this is too much. But if it's human-sized people, maybe it's easier to give the mark to them, but we're not too sure. I mean, hell, we don't even know what the mark looks like, right? People are speculating that it might be the tattoo on Sommers' arm, but that's just a theory still. You know, for all we know, Sommers could just like tattoos, right? It doesn't have to be the mark right then and there. So yeah, there's still a lot of things here, but overall, I do like this theory. You know, people say that the P word is strong. You know, it activates neurons in the brain for One Piece fans, and I agree. I'm one of those people where my brain just goes sicko mode whenever somebody says the word parallel. Like, that's just how it is, right? I think with Oda bringing in a lot of parallels, I don't think it's crazy that people do get excited for those parallels and make theories around them as well. Robin with a hockey bloom incoming. I'm glad Oda is giving her more shine and a team up with Gabon, which was unexpected, yes. I feel like they will run into each other because, like I said, Gabon's got to be going forward towards Sommers, and Sommers, Gunko, Robin, and all them, they're all within close vicinity. So it might actually be a genuine Robin Scopper team up, which would be interesting because I keep on forgetting the fact that the Straw Hats have not met Scopper yet. Like, they've heard stories of him, but only Usopp, Nami, Jinbei, Brook, and Sanji have? I think Sanji was there still, yeah? Yeah, he was. But Robin, Chopper, and Frankie, they weren't present during all the Scopper stuff. So Robin meeting Scopper, that'd be kind of strange, right? Like, unless Scopper, like, introduces himself, Robin might just be like, wait, who the hell is this guy? You know, who's this guy in a Hawaiian shirt showing up with axes? As far as a hockey bloom goes, I would love that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to throw this out and hopefully it sticks. But Robin might be the highest bountied character in the series so far that doesn't have hockey. Okay, I'm wrong. Buggy. Buggy doesn't have hockey. And he's like, what, 2 million, 2 billion? Or is he 3 billion? I think he's 3 billion, actually. Let me double check that real quick. That's bothering me. I think he's 3 billion. Okay, yeah, I just looked it up. Buggy is 3.189 billion. Yes. So Buggy is the character, highest bounty, no hockey. Robin would be the second highest character with no hockey. So yes, I would love a Robin hockey bloom. I think Armament would fit her best, possibly even Ryuo, because Ryuo is all about the whole, you know, you hit somebody and then it does like internal damage. You got like the hockey flow coming off of you. Maybe advanced Armament right away is too crazy, but I think that would work really well with their Devil Fruit powers, and it will look really cool too. So yeah, I'm totally on board with giving Robin some good old hockey. I think she definitely needs it, especially since right now she is enraged. This is like the best time for a character to get hockey. And plus, like, you know, when I think about Ryuo and Armament, imagine how well that would work with her fishman karate that she learned from Koala as well. I mean, hell, maybe it's not even a hockey bloom. Maybe she already knows hockey. Because she did train with the Revs for like 2 years, and Sabo was there, and Sabo knows hockey. Like, surely somebody said, hey, Robin, let's sit down and have a teachable moment. It would be cool if Brook recognized Gunko from his days as a military leader, yep. Because when Saul mentioned that the Holy Knights are immortal, I think these regeneration powers stopped their aging like the 5 elders. So Gunko could look the exact same as 50 years ago, and he would recognize her, but he hesitated because she's bandaged now. Brook's kingdom, past, could hold tons of important lore and give him narrative importance after so long. Yep, I completely agree with this. I think this is the fun answer with Brook and Gunko. I mean, if we wanted to get crazy, we could even say that Brook saw Gunko when she was a kid, and then later on she went on and, aged up, and then she stopped aging as well. But it's hard though. We don't know how the stopping of aging works with the Holy Knights right now. Like Garling, for example. 38 years ago, Garling was this handsome young guy, crazy red hair, it's all pointed out. And then here we are, current day, Garling is old, man. He's got kids, he's got like the whole half moon thing going on, he's got white hair. So did his aging stop? Is he still aging? Does he not have regeneration? It's really hard to tell. Like, do you opt into it? Or is it something you just get at a certain age? We don't really know. But I do like the immortal Gunko theory. I think it would be cool if Brook recognized her, and then she wouldn't be able to recognize him because obviously he's a skeleton now. So yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I can't blame those kids for fearing their mothers. We Asian kids have to face the most terrifying forms of our mother every day, and yet we can't help ourselves from being scared. I think this is a universal thing. This isn't even Asians, man. Like, growing up, I knew a lot of kids, a lot of friends who got their asses whooped day in, day out by their moms. And yeah, they are scary, especially at a young age, man. As you get older, the fear lessens, the fear goes away. Maybe you just move out like I did, right? You just leave the nest, you never come back, but you still have that fear in the back of your head. It never leaves you. Robin is about to cook. I hope so. I hope so, man. I really hope next chapter Robin looks good. My number one fear going into 1148 is that we get nothing Robin related. Because here's the thing, right? Robin, Brook, I mean, you could say this for damn near almost all the Straw Hats minus the Monster Trio, but they don't always get the most time to shine in combat. Like, narratively, yeah, narratively, I think the characters generally look pretty damn good, but combat-wise, like, Robin hasn't had a lot of 1v1s. She got the Black Maria fight back in Wano, but besides that, she didn't have any big fights previously. Like, I don't count Spandam, by the way. I don't count Spandam. I guess there's Yama from Skypiea, but that was like, what, 20 years ago? So yeah, I'm all about Robin getting some combat feats. I hope Robin just really locks in and goes freaking berserk. Oda, please show that Robin can be one of the strongest in the manga. Wow, look at that. Kind of piggybacking off this one, huh? Ohara's legacy is in her hands. This is the best time for her to awaken her hockey and her devil fruit. Wait a minute. I forgot devil fruit awakening. It's demonio time. Okay, wait. Question. I gotta know. If you guys had to pick between Robin getting hockey, which, let's boost it up. We're going to go with what I said earlier. Let's say she gets Ryuo, just to push it above, right? Above and beyond. It's not just basic, it's Ryuo. Would you rather her get that or a Devil Fruit Awakening? Because personally, I think a Devil Fruit Awakening would be kind of cool. Like, right now, she can grow arms and body parts anywhere and everywhere she wants. So what would an awakening be? Yeah, I guess just the environment turns into her body? Yeah. Or maybe she can create more clones. Because she can create clones right now or like bigger versions of herself. But imagine she can create a whole bunch of them. Like, she multiplies into like 50 Robins and they all start doing punches and stuff, which would be kind of silly, but that'd be cool, right? Would you guys want like multiple Robins or just Robin taking over the environment? Because, Paramecia's generally just change the environment into their Devil Fruit, like Katakuri and like Doflamingo. So what would that be in Robin's case? Like, I guess the tree branch would turn into her arms, which would be kind of cursed, but useful? I don't know. I hope somebody in the comment section answers that, because I'm not too sure where Oda goes with that one. Giving Ange the side eye. And the reply says, nah, man, I'm full on staring. Okay. As the creator of the and is evil theory, which I still think is plausible, I don't think this chapter really pushed the needle one way or the other. Everything Ange said in this chapter makes sense. You know, she gave the names of the kids, which is good because the Giants had to know who was at risk, right? If my son was up there about to get kidnapped, I would want to know ASAP. So Ange did a W with that. But I will admit, her doxing the fact that Elbaph has the books of O'Hara, that was a little bit odd. But maybe she just wanted to remind the Giants of Elbaph what's at stake. You know, guys, it's not just any library, it's the library of O'Hara we're losing here. And it makes me wonder a little bit. Did Sommers, Killingham, and Gunko know about that? Did they know that the books of O'Hara survived? Because it seemed like a really well-kept secret. Like, even Vegapunk, when we first learned about this, he kind of mentioned it like, hey, this is super hush-hush. You know, when I visit Elbaph, it has to be in secrecy because I can't let them know what's going on over there. So I don't think the God Knights knew. And if that's the case, if they really didn't know, then I guess Ange really did just reveal a major plot point to them. But we'll see. And, you know, funny enough, speaking of side-eye, there is one character that does give Ange the side-eye, and that's Killingham. I think it was like in the second to last page, but right before Ange starts speaking, Killingham's like, huh. You know, like, almost like he's sussed out. Like, wait, whose side is this girl on, man? What is she doing here? Scopper is the perfect person to teach Robin hockey here. There's no way Scopper sees Robin getting injured by the thorns and not ask, do you not use hockey? Oda, I know you too. Come on, it's a Yonko crew here. Yeah, So when it comes to the Straw Hats not knowing basic hockey, I'm kind of a coper. So, first up, I would love it if all the Straw Hats knew hockey. I think it would make sense if they all knew hockey because we're in the goddamn new world. We're a Yonko crew, like you said. We're near the end of the story. I think they all need hockey. But the fact that they don't have it didn't bother me too much, though, because it shows how versatile our crew is, in a way, right? Like, let's think about the characters that don't have hockey. Frankie not having armament is kind of crazy in my opinion, but he doesn't have hockey. But at the same time, he's a robot man. You know, he specializes in machinery, he has laser beams, and I feel like that's how he kind of bridges the gap in that realm. Robin, excellent with their Devil Fruit. Chopper has all the different points. Nami has Zeus and a bunch of weather attacks. Usopp has Pop Greens. And what I'm getting at is that all the characters that don't have hockey have very unique movesets to make up for it. Of course, though, I would still love it if they had hockey alongside those unique abilities to push them over the edge. But at least I can always fall back on, hey, they still look really cool and unique, which I guess is a Coper's mentality. But yeah, overall, though, I do hope Scopper teaches Robin hockey here. But in the middle of battle against serious opponents, right? We're not talking about the animals of Ruskaina here. You know, we're not talking about the Kung Fu Dugon. Like, in the middle of a serious battle against world government daggers, would Robin actually be able to learn? Would Scopper actually be able to teach her? I think that's kind of where I'm hung up on. I would love it if it does happen, but I gotta see it to believe it, brother. Robin outperforming Jinbei in a fight against the God Knights would be Oda directly down on power scaling dorks. Yes and no. Yes, because, you know, we all expect Jinbei to do better than Robin, but no, in a weird way, because Robin's like right there. You know, like, I don't think anybody thought Robin was like super far down below Jinbei. And I know bounty scaling isn't always a thing, but Robin is like also right there behind Jinbei too at like 900 million. Of course, I think she's being carried by O'Hara when it comes to that high price tag, but still, like, I always saw Robin as like that number 4 or 5 character. So Robin outperforming or Robin, you know, going sicko mode, I think makes sense. And plus, Robin's also enraged, right? We got, you know, double eye layer Robin at the end of this chapter. This is a bloodlusted Robin we're talking about here. This isn't your everyday, you know, hanging around reading a book Robin. No. This is different. And then there's Jinbei, who was kind of hanging around, right? Like, Jinbei was hanging out with the gang. You know, he was a part of the Calling Pirates. He just put out a fire. He was riding a high. Very different mentalities there. But as far as power scalers go, my take is that power scalers generally have really silly debates, but at the same time, I think power scaling to an extent matters a lot. You know, I think characters do have to stay pretty consistent or on trajectory with where they're supposed to be, or else you're going to get like super silly scenarios. I understand that a lot of things happen because the plot necessitates it, but also it has to make sense in the verse, right? We can't just have like, you know, fodder beating a big character, for example. So it's kind of like drawing a line in the sand saying, yeah, like power scaling matters 20% of the time, 30% of the time, 40%, but probably not more than that. Yeah, that was a really weird way to word it, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. It's the same like when people say like, oh, you know, like people are expecting too much from Usopp this arc or this character from this arc. And it's like, yes and no. Like, I think it's healthy to have a good amount of power scaling in your blood or expectations in your blood, but it's got to be reasonable is kind of what I'm getting at. About the choice between the kids or the school-library, it is either our children is precious, we can't replace them, or what is another 17 years? I can always make a new one. No. We can't think about it like that, right? I was trying to think about it logically, like, what if there is just a Genghis Khan character just saying, hey, we lost 10 kids, I'll pump out 10 more, you know, just get the milk, honey. Robin learned Fishman Karate from Koala and Hack. She might be harsher this time. She should use Clutch on the family jewels of Sommers or Killingham. They may be immortal, but they can still feel pain. Clutching the family jewels like she did for Frankie. At what point would that not be a damaging effect? What if they like it, right? Like, we don't know. You know, everybody's different. But what if you use it against Sommers or Killingham and you give them a power-up? I don't know if we want to take that risk, to be honest. But yeah, going back to the Fishman Karate, since she does know Fishman Karate, I kind of would love it if she teamed up with Jinbei. You know, so in my headcanon right now, I think Robin will leave Saul's beard, and right next to Saul is Gunko, or was Gunko. So I think she'll go against her for a little bit. Gunko will eventually release Jinbei and all the Straw Hats. They'll all do their own thing. But hopefully, Jinbei stays here with Robin and they tag team Gunko. Or they tag team Sommers or Killingham or whoever. I would love a Robin, Jinbei, Scopper team up where maybe Scopper teaches Robin hockey, which that's still up for debate. But maybe Jinbei could teach Robin more Fishman Karate. Or they do like a dual attack, like, brick fist. Is that what it is? Side by side. I think that'd be pretty damn cool. Maybe that's just fan fiction, but you gotta admit, I mean, the Giants are doing it, right? The Giants are over here using and spamming Hakaku sovereignty. Robin and Jinbei, you know, shine out, shine through for the Fishman race. All right, so this right here is going to be the last comment of the day. We're hitting the 30-40 minute mark. They say, the way Gunko grabbed her chest looked like it hurt her heart. Maybe she was planning to make Brooke the husband, number 1 or 39 or something. Yes, I think so. Gunko definitely felt emotional pain when Brooke turned her down. And I'm kind of wondering, is this simply a gag? Where, you know, obviously Gunko grabbed her heart and then she started kicking Brooke again because she was so mad. But what if this transcends being just a gag? What if, for example, crazy theory, but what if next time when Usopp shoots a Skullgrass bomb or when Brooke hits her or when somebody hits her, she actually takes damage? What if that's a sign? And that could be like the whole mystery. Like maybe her heart stopped and now it's beating again because she's so upset. Or maybe she can't control her regeneration because she's emotionally distressed. It could be something like that. You know, I like this theory. And in terms of plausibility, I'd give it like 20%. And the reason why it's so low is because I have no idea how this would work for Sommers, Killingham, or Shamrock. Like for Gunko, she has Brooke, and Brooke destroyed her heart in this chapter. But we can't exactly do the same to the guys or the Gorosei. Like, we'd have to learn how they tick, what affects them, and I feel like that would just be way too convoluted. So yeah, I think this is a gag. I think it's really cute, but if it's something more, that'd be interesting. But yes, with that being said though, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really freaking appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much for commenting. If you have an extra second though, I would really appreciate it if you guys checked out my gaming channel over at Psyduck on YouTube and over on Twitch. I stream there every other night. And also, I have an anime reaction channel over at Somnus Reacts on YouTube, where I react to One Piece weekly, as well as any other anime that catches my attention. And that's it. I'll catch you guys later this week. Take care till then. Signing out.